Hey, it's Jason. Thanks for joining me here at the Hardy Life Outdoors. This is my new YouTube channel, but I'm not new to YouTube. I've been around for over 3 years, have over 150 videos on YouTube, with a lot of them being pretty popular. I'm in the process of migrating things from my old channel to the new channel, so you're going to see a lot of that content come over here soon, as well as a lot of new content about all the things that I do outdoors. Check out the content. If you like it, please hit like, share the channel with your friends, and subscribe so that you know when new content comes out. I appreciate you stopping and hope you like the content. Thanks. I'll see you soon.
I just finished up some projects back here on the Habitat Oasis, and I thought I'd do a quick review of my Polaris 570. I see people asking a lot of questions about what ATV should I buy, and I've had this one. This is a I want to say 2014 Polaris 570. It's from the first year they came out. So I've had it 6 years and have had quite a bit of experience with it, obviously, and feel like I'm pretty qualified to talk about it. So I'll kick off by saying that this was my first side-by-side. I previously had a Polaris 500 four-wheeler, and I was looking for something I could use on the property so that I had young kids. I wanted to be able to throw them into an ATV with me, or a side-by-side without putting them behind me. I wanted to be able to have a passenger that I could talk to versus someone over my shoulder. So I started looking around at side-by-sides. And honestly, when I say looking around, I was pretty sold on Polaris. At our cabin in West Virginia, we had my 500. My cousin had a 500. We had a 900. I want to say we had 4 or 5 Polaris ATVs. So we were pretty sold on Polaris, so I really didn't shop around a whole lot. I went and looked at this. When I talked to the dealer, I realized it was the first year for the 570, and that made me a little nervous that anytime it's your first year on a model, you wonder what things are going to be discovered that they didn't think about, or what things are going to go wrong. He assured me it was the first year for the 570 side-by-side, but that the 570 engine had been used in ATVs in previous years, so felt that the engine was proven. So so I ended up going with it, and when I bought it, there were a few things that I had added to it by the dealer. I started off with a roof. They put it's a plastic roof. It's got a quick release system on it. I've never had it off, but it was something that I knew I had to have. That if I was going to be out in the snow and rain or any kind of inclement weather, I wanted a roof on it. I also had them put a windshield on it, and I went with a probably polycarbonate 2-piece windshield. And one of the things I really like about this plastic versus glass, first of all, what I don't like about it, it rattles, makes a little bit of noise. It's cheaper than a nice glass windshield, but what I like is you can pop this thing open, and on a nice summer day, open that up, drive around with it open, and get a lot of airflow through there. Really feels nice on a day that's hot and humid to get some airflow. If you're riding with others with the windshield open, you're going to eat a little bit of dirt when you do that, dust when you do that, but I did like that thing comes open. It also has a position halfway open, not even halfway, cracked. So you get some airflow, but it'll keep rain or dirt or whatever from hitting you. So the windshield was something I added on at purchase, really liked. As I mentioned, it's kind of, because it's plastic, it's cheap and noisy, but for the most part, I've had good luck with it. it did split here at the top when I was trailering it. So at 50 to 70 miles an hour, the wind blowing on it, it buckled it. I put a little piece of metal strapping up there, bolted it on, and I haven't had any problems with it since. The other add-on that I did was a winch on the front. I really couldn't tell you the specs on the winch. I use it every now and then. It was something I felt like where we rode down at the cabin, and we weren't really doing a lot of trail riding. This is mostly a hunting vehicle, a work around the property vehicle. When we did go trail riding, it was old roads, good trails. We didn't go mudding with this thing, but we did have some areas that could be pretty nasty. So I went with the winch. I have used it for pulling some logs out of the brush. I doubt I've ever pulled myself out of any messes, but the winch was just an add-on I felt like I needed. So I got it. In terms of power, I'm not overworking this thing. Every now and then I will throw a chain on the back and we'll drag a log out for firewood, and I've never had problems dragging whatever I wanted to. The bed, I will fill it up with, probably the heaviest thing I ever put in it was bags of corn when I was filling a corn feeder for deer hunting, and I'd put probably 300 pounds of corn in it. You can feel the weight back there, but I've never done anything with it where I felt like I've overloaded it and I needed more power. When I see people talking about, do I need a 570? Do I need the 900? Do I need, various sizes? I honestly, there's nothing that I need, that I'm doing with this thing, that I need more power than I've got out of the 570. It's got a couple storage compartments. It's got a glove box, small storage, not great storage. Under the seat is wide open to the ground. I wish they'd put a pan in there or something so that you could put gloves or rope or chains or whatever you want down in there as a storage place. There's room to put one, and I actually think the newer models have some under seat storage. So that's something to look at. Another feature that this thing has, because it was the first model year, and I don't know if they didn't think of it or the safety requirements were different, this thing does not require you to wear your seat belt in terms of having a governor on it. So the newer models, if you don't have your seatbelt on, a governor keeps the speed at either 15 or 20 miles an hour. I'm not one to bypass safety. I wear my seatbelt on it sometimes if I'm back here and I'm just cruising around and I'm not worried about hitting a tree or anything. I don't always put it on, but if you don't want the seatbelt on, it doesn't restrict your speed. Over time, things that I added to it. I did put some LED lights up top. Those have been really nice. They just add some additional light. So I like those. They were easy to wire in. They came with a harness, and I think they're Seismic is the brand. And I was able to add a switch to the dash. So that was easy to add. The other thing that I really like is on the back, I've got a double gun scabbard. And it hooks into, on the bed of this Polaris, there are holes, and you just drop these anchors down in it, snap them down, and it's nice and secure. It comes off and on really easy, and it's just a feature that I really, really liked. I'm not even sure they still sell that particular gun rack. I was looking for it for someone else, and they didn't have it, but this was, I just really like it. I like the whole system of being able to add things into these holes. In terms of the bed, plenty of carrying capacity. I tend to carry stuff in it all the time. I've got the chainsaw in there. I've got chains for pulling logs. I got brush cutters. There's always something in the back of this thing. Try to think of other things. Anything I don't like. I guess one thing that I could say I don't like is if you park it and you try to leave it in gear, it will roll in gear. And I found that out the hard way. I backed up to an area where I was getting ready to hook up a small trailer to it. I walked away, and when I came back a few minutes later, it was gone. I thought someone played a joke on me. Couldn't figure out where it had gone. And I looked around, and I walked down, I looked over the hill, and it had rolled about, 35, 40 yards over the hill into a ravine and was laying on its side. At the bottom, it was stopped by a big tree. It destroyed the hood. It damaged the front grille. Or the front brush bar. I was able to bend that back. It broke an A-arm, damaged an A-arm. I didn't even realize it was damaged until recently, so I've got a replacement for that. It wasn't enough that it has caused issues for me. But the other thing, it damaged the frame on the bed, so my bed sits kind of cattywomper on there. But, you know, I'd like to be able to leave it in gear and not worry about it rolling away, but you got to put it in park, so that's a little tip for you. Make sure it's in park when you park it. In terms of issues I've had with it, the only thing that I can think of that was an expensive repair that seemed kind of out of the ordinary and I probably shouldn't have had was a bent drive shaft. And in all honesty, the area that I was riding this, we had some pretty rocky roads, and I'm not certain that on some of the trails I didn't just, you know, hit a rock weird that caused that damage. So that was a little disappointment. It was in the first 2 to 3 years that I had to replace that. And again, I can't swear that it was anything wrong with the Polaris versus me hitting something. So had that happen. The first year I had it, we had a flood. Got 4 feet of water in the garage that floated it. And I had to have the dealer come get it. And they flushed it and cleaned it all up for me. And I've never had a problem with it since. So in terms of, you know, how will it survive in the water and mud, it was underwater and floating and on its side. I forget how it was. They cleaned it all out and got it back to where it's working well. So only other thing, on the other side, I added a little Velcro grab handle for the passenger. But that's really it. For the most part, I've not had issues with it. I hear people, you know, different people have different opinions and they swear by different models. I'm pretty sold on Polaris. Josh has a Polaris 570 Crew. The neighbor has one because he saw the success we've had with each of ours. And again, we've got them at the cabin. My uncle actually just purchased a 500 side-by-side Polaris. So we've all had good luck with them. Highly recommend them. If you have questions about it, feel free to leave me comments. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please hit like, share our channel with your friends, and subscribe. So thanks, and have a good one.